Welcome. This video explores some common issues with blocks and figuring out how to use them. So I want to make a program that's going to use BYOB to add some numbers. Here's a basic script that does it. It's going to ask me for a number. It's going to store that as first number. It's going to ask me for another number, and it's going to add up the first number and the answer to the second question, that second number, and it works. So if I try it, he asks me for a number, 12, asks me for another number, 6, he says 18. Now this does the job, but this is a script. This is not a block. A block is when we take a script and give it a name. So this same chunk of code, I make a block and I put that code in here and I give it a name like bad add. It does the same job, but now I've got kind of a reusable piece. Rather than worry about that kind of copying and pasting this big chunk around, anytime I want him to do a job for me, I can just use this one instruction and I can reuse it. I could have him do this a couple times in a row. Well, and I can use this wherever I want. Now this is called bad add because it's not very flexible. Say I want to get the numbers from something else than typing them in. They're going to be based on some other calculation or something. Well, I can't do that with bad add. The only way it's going to work is by asking me for the input. So here's a slightly better version of the block. And why it's better is it's got these parameters, right? These inputs, kind of like the normal add. Yes, this is kind of a silly block. We already have a block that does add, but basically we're recreating that. And so it takes in the parameters. In those holes, whatever I put in those holes, it's going to call num1 and num2. And it's going to add those two and then say the answer. So if I put in 12 and 5, he'll say 17. Now this is more flexible because I can have those values hard-coded in. I could have one of them be a random number. Right? I can do whatever I want with those inputs. And if I really want it to be the same as the bad add, I could do that. I could ask for the input and then use my still bad add block and pass it the first number I entered and the second answer, the second number. Right, so 12 and 6, 18. So I can use this block to do what that one did, but it can also do more things, which is what we like. Now it's called still bad add because if I'm using a block to calculate something, I might want to do things other than just have the character say the answer. And I can't use this to say, do some more work. Right, if I want to add these two numbers and then multiply the result by 2, I can't stick this in there. And I can't stick this in there because it is a standard block. I can tell it's a standard block by its shape. The fact that it's got that dent in the top and the protrusion on the bottom tells me this is designed to hook up to normal blocks. Right? It looks like these control ones. It looks like the motion ones. It doesn't look like the things that are designed to give us an answer. If I use the normal plus block, it doesn't make the character say it. It shows me the answer right here. That's this block reporting the answer. And because it reports the answer, that's what allows me to chain it together with other blocks and actually put it inside there. And so now it says do 2 plus 3, get the answer, and then do times 3. So if I ask the times, what's your answer? Right, I get the 5 times 3 is 15. And that's really the behavior we're shooting for. So this isn't doing what I want. This one, just the shape looks better. It looks like a reporter. When you make a block and you pick command versus reporter, that's what you're saying. Am I making something that's just going to do something? That's a command. Or am I making something that's supposed to give an answer back that we could then use to do other things? A predicate block is basically a reporter that just returns true or false. So when I want to make something like an add block, something that's supposed to give me back a number or a word or something, I want that to be a reporter. And so that's what I've done with the good add. It takes in two parameters, calls them num1 and num2. So whatever I type here, 2 and 5, that's what num1 and num2 will be. We add them together, and then we report the answer. And if I do that, well, we see it, the block itself reports it right there. The character doesn't say that. I could make him say that. And if I just put in a say, I could use this block to make him say the answer. So I can still have that behavior if I want, but I'm not constrained to always have him say the answer. I could take this good add and use it inside something else. I can multiply the result of adding 2 and 5 by 3 and get 21. I could even chain it together with itself and add 3 numbers by, first I'm going to add 2 and 5, and once I get the result, I'm going to add another 2, and I get 9. So we've got a much more flexible block this way. So kind of pay attention if the problem asks you to make a plain block. This is kind of what we're shooting for. If you're supposed to be able to control what it does, if I want to be able to say control the size of a square it's going to make, you better have a parameter, and that's the kind of the right way to pass in the information about what it needs to do to know to do its job. And if we expect an answer back, if the sample picture looks like one of these, then it really needs to be a reporter so that we get the answer back here and not just having the character say the answer.